here today to do practice 18 with you in the TABE Tutor Practice Math Book 1. Practice 18 is about dividing fractions, and this is going to be on page 38 of your workbook. So I will move to my page 38 and let's take a look at these. Number 1. Cassie runs 7/4 kilometers on a 1/8 kilometer track. How many laps does Cassie run? So we have two fractions here, and for me personally, when I was learning these were always difficult because it's hard to know which number to put first. With fractions, it's hard to tell sometimes which number is the divisor and which number is the dividend. So I had to come up with ways to help myself with that decision. And one of the ways that I did this was to draw a picture. So if you picture this track, and I'm going to make it an oval because that's what it looks like in my head. It could be a square, but we know that this whole track is 1/8 of a kilometer. So if she starts at this point and she runs around the track and she stops at that same point, she has done 1 lap, and that is 1/8 of a kilometer. The track where I exercise is 1/3 of a mile. So each time I make the circle, I'm going 1/3 of the mile. So here's how I would set this one up, just to keep myself in the right order. I would ask myself, what is the total distance that she ran divided by the distance of 1 lap? So we know that she ran 7/4 of a kilometer, or 7/4 kilometers, that's plural because it's more than 1 kilometer. And that 1 lap on our track is only 1/8 of a kilometer. It's not even close to a whole kilometer. So we're dividing those two. The next step you already know how to do because we've been doing that. The thing about these that could be a problem is getting them in the right order. You don't want to get the 1/8 first because it's not the total. So I am dividing 7/4 by 1/8. So I'll do the reciprocal of my second fraction. Now this time I'm going to cancel. This goes back to when we learned how to do multiplying fractions. 4 into 4 is 1 time, and 4 into 8 is 2 times. So I'm left with 14 on top of 1, or 14 laps. So the answer to number 1 is C. If she runs 7/4 kilometers, she goes around that track 14 times. Number 2. An athletic trainer uses 5/4 gallons of sports drink to fill 1/16 gallon bottles. How many bottles does the trainer fill? So we're taking the total and we're dividing that up into bottles. The trainer has 5/4 gallons, and he's dividing that up into 1/16 gallon bottles. Now this is something, again, I want you to notice. Those units need to match. If you look up here, the units had to match there also. So be careful that you're setting up problems that match up correctly. So here is 5/4 times the reciprocal, 16 over 1. So 4 into itself is 1, 4 into 16 is 4, and 4 fives are 20 over 1. That is 20 bottles that the trainer can fill. Number 3. Tiffany must read 7/12 of a textbook as a homework assignment. She reads the entire assignment in 1/3 increments each day. How many days does it take Tiffany to complete the homework assignment? So we need to know the total, and we're dividing that up into daily increments. An increment is just a part, a piece. The word increment suggests division. It's like the same as pieces or parts. The total that she has to do is 7/12. And if she does that in 1/3 increments, you have 7/12 divided by 1/3. So when you do your reciprocal bit, you're going to have 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 12 is 4. So you get 7/4. That's top heavy. So let me divide it through. They want it in mixed form. 4 into 7 is 1, with 3 left over. So 1 3/4 days. The answer here is A. Number 4. The snow in a field accumulates to 7/8 meter. Accumulate is another word for totals. Each day, 1/16 meter of snow falls. How many days does it snow? So we're taking the total divided by the daily amount, let's say 1 day. The total is 7/8. I'm dividing that by a 1/16. So when you do the reciprocal, you will be able to cancel 8 into 8 and 8 into 16. 7 times 2 is 14 over 1. 14 days is the total. Answer to number 4 is C. Number 5. Diego has 4/3 teaspoons of cumin. A recipe calls for 1/5 teaspoon of cumin. How many batches of the recipe can Diego make? Well, you take the total that he has, divided by the amount for one batch. I think maybe he's making chili or some kind of soup. So 4/3 times 5 over 1. Can't cancel this time. So you end up with 20 over 3. It's not D. Be careful. This is top heavy, so we need to divide it through. 3 into 20 is 6 times, with 2 left over. So 6 2/3 is your answer, and that is B. Number 6. I don't have to set this one up. It is ready to go for me. So I have 5 halves times the reciprocal 4/3. I can cancel to get 10/3. It's top heavy, so let's divide it through. 3 1/3. The answer to number 6 is C. 3 1/3. Number 7. Bailey has 7/9 cup of rabbit food. She feeds her rabbit 1/8 of a cup of food a day. Bailey needs enough food for 7 days. Which statement is true? Does Bailey have enough food to feed the rabbit for 7 days? I'm going to have to squeeze that one in right here. So you take the total that she has, divide it by 1 day's amount. So we have 7/9 divided by 1/8, which will be 7/9 times 8/1. And that's going to be 56/9. It's top heavy, so let's divide. That's going to be 9 into 56 is 6 times, with 2 left, is 6 2/9. And remember, she needs enough food for 7 days. She has enough food for 6 2/9 days. So would you say that she has enough? Think through that carefully. Does she have enough? If she needs 7 and she has 6 2/9, she does not have enough food. So all of these fit that requirement. She doesn't have enough food. No problem there. The food will last for, here it is, 6 2/9 days. So the answer you want for this one is A. She does not have enough. She has enough for 6 2/9 days. Almost enough, but not enough. Number 8. Rick buys 5 6-yard of ribbon to make gift bows. Each bow requires 1/7 yard of ribbon. Rick needs to make 5 bows. Which statement is true? So we take the total that he buys. Each bow is 1/7 of a yard. So I have 5/6 times 7/1. That's going to be 35/6. It's top heavy, so let's divide it through. 6 into 35 is 5 times, with a remainder of 5. So 5 5/6 is the mixed number. He needs to make 5. So does he have enough? He does. He actually has enough and a little bit left over. So this says doesn't, has enough ribbon. Right there's my answer. He can make 5 and 5/6 bows. Number 9. Luke's lawnmower has 3/4 of a tank of gas. His yard requires 1/12 of a tank of gas to mow. How many times can Luke mow his yard? Well, if he has 3/4, that's the total, and each time he mows he needs a 1/12. So let's do the reciprocal and cancel. 3 times 3 is 9. 9/1 is 9. So Luke can mow his yard 9 times with that much gas. Number 10. A potter has 15/4 pounds of clay and uses 3/8 pounds for each soap dish she makes. How many soap dishes can the potter make? Well, she has 15/4 pounds divided by soap dishes that each require 3/8. So 15/4 times 8/3. You can cancel both ways on this one. This is a good one. 4 and 4 into 8 is 2. 3 into 3 is 1, and 3 into 15 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. She can make 10 soap dishes. Number 11 just says to divide. 2/5 times 10/3. Cancel where you can, and that leaves you with 4/3. 3 into 4 goes 1 time with 1 left and a 3 on the bottom. 1 1/3 for this one. Number 12. A carton of oats is 14/15 full. So there's 1/15 missing. A granola recipe requires 2/3 of a carton of oats. How many batches of granola can be made? So I have almost a full can of oats. And to make one batch, I need this much from the can. So I have 14/15 times 3 halves, and I can cancel here. And that leaves me with 7/5. 5 goes into 7 one time with 2 left and a 5 on the bottom. So 1 2/5 batches can be made. Number 13. Donnie has 3/4 of an hour left in his shift. It takes him 1/10 hour to install one fence post. Donnie wants to install 7 fence posts before his shift ends. Which statement is true? So he has this much time remaining. It takes him this much time to do one installation. So 3/4 times 10 over 1. You can cancel here with 2's. 2 into 4 is 2 times, 2 into 10 is 5. So you end up with 15 over 2. 2 into 15 goes 2 times, with 1 left over and a 2. 2.5 posts. Now, he wants, I'm sorry, something's wrong here. What have I done? That doesn't look right. Oh, I'm trying to do division in my head. Sorry. 2 into 15 is 7. I'm sorry, guys. It's lunchtime, and I'm feeling it. So in the time left, he can do 7.5 posts. He wanted to do 7, so he's in good shape. We can eliminate these because he does have enough time. And the answer I'm looking for is A. Sorry about that. Number 14 is to divide 7/16 by 1/9. And unfortunately, I can't cancel here. So I'm just going to have to do some math. 7 9s are 63 and 16 on the bottom. So that is top heavy. We're going to have to convert that to its mixed form. And I'm dividing by 16. 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. And 16 times 4 is 64. That's too big. So I'm going to go with the 3. 3/16 are 48. So we have to subtract here. 13 minus 8 is 5. And there's a 1. So I am thinking 3 and 15/16. And there is the answer. That one's not easy. None of these are easy. Stephen has 10/13 gallon of carpet cleaner. That's what he has. One carpet requires 1/9 of a gallon to clean. So how many carpets can he clean? And unfortunately, I cannot cancel. And I need to divide 90 by 13. And give myself just a little bit more room. I do not know my 13s. I know some of them, but not all of them. So let's make our list over here. I know it's going to take quite a few to get me to 90, because there's a big difference in 13 and 90. We can't go over 9 with this list, so we know we won't have to go that far. 13 times 5. 13 times 6. I'm getting there. 13 times 7 is 91. That's too big. So I'm going to go with the 6. 6 times 13 is 78, if I've done that correctly. So we have to borrow. to get a remainder of 12. 6 and 12/13 carpets. And there it is, sure enough. They're making me work for these. Those of you who have a calculator, you are lucky on these. Number 16. A garden occupies 3/4 square meter of a yard. The length of the garden is 2/3 meter. What is the width of the garden? Now, I do want to take just a second. This is a geometry question. So if you imagine that this is the garden, let me try that again. And we know that the whole garden takes up 3/4 of a square meter. That's an area problem. If it's square anything, you're dealing with an area. The length of the garden is 2/3 of a meter, and they want us to find out what the width is. So I'm going to divide the area by the 2/3 and see what we have left over. So I have 3/4 times 3/2, and once I do the reciprocal, I cannot cancel, unfortunately. So I have 9/8. That's not too bad. 8 goes into 9 once, with 1 left over. So the width of the garden is 1 1/8 meter. And that's A. Number 17. A swimming pool is 13/16 full of water. Now 16/16 would be filled to the brim. So it's almost full of water. But it's leaking 2/5 of its volume every hour. How many hours does it take until the pool is completely empty? So we take the amount that's in there and divide it by 1 hour's leak. So we have 13/16 times 5/2, and this will not cancel. So this is another one of those that I'm going to have to work on. 13 times 5, I'm going to try to do this in my head. You can certainly stop the video if you need to. And then 16 times 2 I do know. So let's divide this through. It's top heavy. 32 is the divisor. And I definitely don't know my 32s. I'll have to figure them. 32 times 1 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. That's going to be it, because 32 times 3 is 96, and that's way too big. So we want the 2. It goes 2 times with only 1 left over. So 2 and 1/32 is the answer I'm looking for. Number 17 is B. Number 18. We are almost done, guys. The watering pitcher Anne uses holds 14/11 liters. Anne wants to use the pitcher to water 3 plants. Each plant requires 4/3 liter of water. Which statement is true? So she has 14/11 and she uses 4/9 per plant. So I have 14/11 times 9/4, and that gives me 63/22. So I do need to do some division here. 63 divided by 22, and my 22s would be 22 times 1, 22 times 2, 22 times 3. That's too big, so we're going to use the 2, and that's 44. And that's 13 minus 4, is 9. So 19 left over. She wants to water 3 plants. She can water 2 and 19/20 seconds. That falls short of 3. So I would say that she does not have enough, and I would go with 2 and 19/20 seconds. And that is option C. Number 19. Finally, we're to the end of this one. Zach buys 3/2 quarts of ice cream. He makes sundaes that require 2/11 of a quart of ice cream. He wants to make 8 sundaes. So we need to decide if he has enough. And I'm going to have to squeeze this one in right here. So I'm going to use blue to do this one. So 3/2 divided by 2/11. And we want to know if he has enough to make 8. So 3/2 times 11/2 is going to be 33/4. 33/4 is 8 1/4. So yes, he can make 8 of them. He would have 1/4 left over. He does have enough. All of these say that he has enough. D is the one I'm looking for. He can make 8 1/4 sundaes. That brings us to the end of practice 18. If you have questions, please contact your instructor. And I will see you in the next video where we will look at unit rates. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.